Balanced and Balanced Vibrations tribe. Happy Earth Day. There's definitely no better place to be anytime. Every day is Earth Day. Than in this creative force of nature. It's funny because especially often as males we forget that the creative aspects are actually coming from the divine feminine side of ourselves, and likewise sometimes when females see males doing a lot of things like with the business and all this stuff, they even forget that, hey, that's not the masculine side that's got all that creativity. And so when we look into nature, it's really awesome for me to see that, and you just see so many creations. Like I'm even walking fast, so like when I slow it down and just zoom into everything, you just see how amazing this being is, and that we're these life forms also that have been hosted by this being. And it's incredible because no matter what anybody says, no matter how much they don't like whatever's going on in their lives, they eat from this every single day. And it feeds them and it gives them air, no matter what they think about it. You know, in the lofty states of consciousness, you know, we see ourselves, or we want to see ourselves without any dependencies, and I don't need oxygen, I don't need food. And yeah, you know, keep setting those projections, but never forget where you're at, and never forget where you came from. And for me, 10 years ago, nature changed my life. It gave me the ability to leave out of the fake matrix and come into the real womb of life and to be restored. I chose to do that here. When I ask myself to verbalize what do I feel makes nature such a cut above all of what we see going on, I guess you can't even measure it on that level. But if I just wanted to, I guess, philosophize with it and let that come out, I would say for sure that it doesn't want anything. If you think about it, a lot of the interactions that we have every day, they're from people who want or need something. And then when you come into nature, especially those of us who are always looking to make contact, you even know it's like you got to go and find it. It's not like it's just there and it's like, oh, come to me. You know, that's like that's your fantasy movies. You know, what this is really about is saying, look, I'm here and you are me, and you're always going to be returning to me, as they say. You know, you're going to lay your ether down into this. And so thus, you know, you'll be back in the mother's bosom. So give me a second. I'm going to get the telescope thing here to work a little bit. So let's just take a stroll through the mother. So we can take this moment to celebrate Earth in the total beauty of who she is. I thought I'd come out to a place that is seldom seen traffic, and also just connect with everyone and let everyone know that, see, that's the whole thing about nature, is that it doesn't need anything from you. So you don't feel this, oh, give me something, or expectation. You know, it's here as it is, and it's amazing, and it's beautiful, and it's showing us. You know, I've been able to create all of this because I got into myself. And I started seeing what I had as my personal tools to create with, and I started designing from there. And math shows us that, you know, you start off with one or nothing. Like this recording is called Somewhere, Nowhere. There's no addresses here. You know, people want to try to give it some numbers and all of that, but this is nowhere. Nobody is here as far as people are concerned, but there is so much life deep into this. You know, it's just even a wonder that there's an actual path here. The owners of this property, Earth, had decided that it would keep a human custodian to put a path through here. And, you know, in our manifestations, as we co-create, we want to have spaces like this which stretch on for miles and miles, really, really in the hands not only of the conscious community and the children of the community, but also there as the full immersive hug to what you need to experience when you're leaving out of the matrix. Now there's a skink. Salamander, actually. Yeah, there's just all sorts of stuff around. And the interesting part about all of this is how sentient these life forms are. When you just take a moment and you observe their life, and especially the birds are on something else. It's like their lives are like what ours would be if we got our heads on straight and decided that we wanted to go full on into the earth experience, which is to fly and to not have that limitation of well, let's not talk about limitations. Everything has its place, but to fly. And so now we're here. You know, this is a prelude to what's happening next. We are making some massive changes with what we're developing. And we're taking what we learned in the lessons and we're placing that into the design to be so much more fluent with what we're looking for at 2019, crossing into 2020 for sovereignty. And we're going to structure the platform as we go into Mindful app to really be not only answers, because we got tons of stuff to talk about, like just wanted to have a quick word about knowledge, like knowledge and wisdom. Some people are turned off by it now because they're like, everything I learn, it produces more questions. Wah! And it's like, that's actually perpetual energy. That's fermentation. Anything that from one thing it starts producing more, you shouldn't be crying about that. You should use that as a form of energy. And so to the depths, the knowledge is a form of awareness that equals energy to have that aha and to keep going further and further. And there's those that are already paving that that mental plane, if you may, already minting a new mental plane that we're crossing into as we gain more awareness about where we are. But we have so much to experience and so much to learn. Like even all these trees, they contain these essence. And this essence, you know, it gets into your bloodstream and all of a sudden you have 20 or 30,000 years in the future past added to what you're already aware of. And, you know, you don't see that on your dailies all the time. You saw it a little bit because it was trending. Netflix covered it. But, you know, just truly where we could go, you know. And this is with us now. Like, stop depending on other people to do something for you. Let's create our own thing. You know, I thought that, what was that device called? The SIO, made in Israel, should have known, was going to be able to reveal what was in a lot of these elements by not only inventing a handheld molecular scanner that was cheaper than all the other ones. I mean, this one was cost like $400. All other ones cost about $50,000. And open up an open source database so that I could just scan this flower. And because I'm using a molecular scanner, it can tell me what that flower or plant is and the elements that it contains with it and what those elements can do. Because here in nature, this is where we are externalized. And so anything that is a problem with us, it could be fixed here. And, you know, this is the garden in itself. Like, especially here, this is the garden of delights. A lot of this is edible. Like, you know, I make a U-turn here. Let me see how much time I'm working with. Weesh. There we go, flipping around. 11 minutes. Okay, so 4 more minutes. A lot of this is editable. And, you know, that creates the edible forest. I think I say editable. So anyway, tribe, just sending love and letting you know that, you know, staying in tune is key. And even for me, like, I have to do it. Like, last year was immense for me because I put in so much energy, especially into creating, you know, this framework that we're connected with. Because as I said, we're the technology. Our flesh is what puts all this together. But we do need a decent framework, and somebody's got to learn something about how to deal with where we're going as far as our metaphysical consciousness, and how does that bridge right now into the state that we're in now as a society and as humanity, right? So, you know, I spent all of my efforts and energy into that, and it was amazing to see that that was a great investment, that I was able to learn not only the secret to giving, which is everything, it's like a deep dive into how it all really works, but to see the truth of the manifestation and to leave from one portal and go into another one and really feel content about the next space, which is really what we need to be able to do. That's death. Sometimes we're clinging on to the previous space. Like, my previous space was, yeah, it was pretty good. Like, everybody that came through, all those birds that landed in that airport and came over to the nest know that that was the spot. But when it got time to let it go to get into another constellation, I was like, hey, let me clean it up for you. And that's how we have to be even when we move on from this experience, because it's only going to get greater as long as our consciousness is still tuned in to what's really important. So, happy birthday, Earth. Happy birthday, tribe. Definitely look forward to these new changes. We're going to be bringing in just a totally different structure and a greater level of connection. We're going to build our own native stuff, especially with our chats, and we're going to get our nurturing happening really strong for those that are just coming in and just getting this information, and it's, you know, mind-blowing, but at the same time, you know, it's causing maybe instabilities because there's the transition periods. And then also to keep bringing more of this truth, I do want to let everybody know I'm going to be making my advent away from YouTube and away from Facebook soon, not only because I have my own stuff and I design better, but also because things are changing with their policies that we see in their SDKs, that we know for sure that is going to go in that direction that many of the conspiratorial theory people on the system, including myself, thought it would. And we were used in a certain sense, but we did get a lot out of it to create a platform like YouTube that brings in millions of people and billions, and influences billions of people. But unfortunately, they're taking the direction of what you see when you log out and you go incognito and you're not using your account, and you go look at YouTube and see what they're showing everybody, which actually equals not really what we want in our harmonic projection. So look into Mindful app. It's a real solution. Like, we've raised, I believe now it's about $27,000. Amazing. We're looking to raise $400,000. We're bringing in very advanced technology, and more importantly, we're bringing in these communicative tools that allow us to not only know where we are, also grow together, participate in these meditations together in real time, have an ecosystem to where financially we can stabilize ourselves because we are the greatest value, you know, humanity, as it's always been, and progress into creating our own system of wholeness and mindfulness that allows us to be the bridge for people who are coming through this experience. So that's what's up. Thank you for tuning in, and go out in nature. That's the best way to celebrate Earth.